Hi friends, it's Mr. Alex from Adams Memorial Library, and I'm back with another fun themed craft. So this month, in preparation for the Christmas season, I thought that we would make our own very Grinchy ornaments. Now, if you'd like to participate in this craft, you can stop here at the library, either at the children's room or the curbside pickup, and we'd be happy to give you a craft kit. If you can't pick one up, that's okay too, and you can follow along with your own supplies at home. But before we begin, let me show you what we'll need, and then we'll get started crafting. In order to make our Grinchy ornament, we're going to need quite a few supplies. Some of them will come from your craft kit, and some will come from home. The first thing that we're going to need, obviously, is our popsicle sticks, and in your kit, you should have 4 whole popsicle sticks and 2 partial popsicle sticks, and these are what we're going to use to build the base of our ornament. Then we're going to need to paint our ornament, so we have a paper plate or some other surface to work on as we're painting, our green paint, our red paint, and some paintbrushes as well. Then it's time to decorate, and so we're going to need the paper cutouts from our craft kit, which will have the hat, the eyes, the trimming, and the scrap of black paper to make eyebrows out of. Then we'll need 2 pom-poms, one white and one green, as well as some yarn to hang it, and a hole puncher to punch a hole for the yarn as well. We'll need scissors to cut everything out, glue to glue it and attach it all together, and finally, a Sharpie to draw the Grinch's mouth. So, once we have everything here all gathered up, we're going to go ahead and start building our Christmas ornament. Our first step, whenever we're making our Grinch ornament, is that we need to glue our popsicle sticks together. So what you're going to want to do is get all 4 of your whole popsicle sticks and line them up like this so that they're in a straight line and the tops and bottoms of our popsicle sticks are even. Then we can take our glue. I recommend something like tacky glue or another liquid glue. And then we're just going to apply a line of glue to each of the partial popsicle sticks and line those up across the top and bottom. Now, as you're doing this, you want to be a little bit gentle because you might shift your popsicle sticks underneath and make them uneven again. So while the glue is still wet, you can adjust that a little bit. But we're going to glue one side on, and then we're going to glue our other side on, like this. Now, again, you may want to touch it up and move your popsicle sticks around so that they remain even, but this basic raft shape is what we're going to use to make our ornament. And it's very important that you let this dry before you do anything else with it, because if it's not dry and you start working with it or picking it up and moving it, it may fall apart. So we're going to leave this right here. We're going to let it dry for a little bit, and then we're going to get our paint and our brushes so that we can begin painting our Grinch ornament. Now that our popsicle stick raft is glued together and dry, it's time to begin painting it so that it looks like the Grinch. Now we're going to use red paint and green paint, and it's important to know that we're going to make the top 2/3 of the project green and the bottom 1/3 red. If you do this in reverse and have too much red and too little green, you won't have enough room for his face. So you definitely want to put your paint on in a way that 2/3 of the top is green and 1/3 of the bottom is red. Now, if you don't get exactly these measurements, that's fine too. It just needs to be somewhere close. And also, right down the line in the middle where the 2 paint colors meet, they might start to blend a little bit. That's okay too, because our paper decorations are going to cover that up a little bit. So we're just going to take one of our brushes and again, paint the bottom 1/3 red, take our other brush and paint the top 1/3 green. And once we've painted our ornament on our paper plate to make sure we don't get anything on our tablecloth, then it's time to let it dry. So once again, we're going to wait a little bit. We're going to let our ornament dry before we do the next step. And once it's dried, there's a couple of things that you can do. First, you can see if it needs a new layer of paint, and if it does, then we can apply additional layers. And while we're waiting for it to dry, we can get all of our paper cutouts that we have from our craft kit, and we can start cutting those out as we're waiting for the paint to dry, because the next step is going to be to glue those on. So I'll let this dry. I'll see if we need another coat of paint, cut out my paper decorations, and be back in a little bit. Now that our popsicle raft is painted and dried, it's time to start gluing on all of our decorations in roughly this order. So remember, we should have cut these out as we were letting our paint dry, and the first thing that we're going to assemble is the Santa hat. So we'll take our glue, put a line of it right across the bottom, and attach our first piece of trimming. I recommend attaching these so that the lines on the side that you cut from the template are face down. Then we're going to take our glue and add a dot, a pretty sizable one, right at the tip of the hat, and glue on our white pom-pom. And because it can take a little bit of time for the glue to set and the pom-pom to dry, we're going to set this aside as we glue the rest of our project. Then, the next thing that we're going to do is take our other piece of white trim and put a line of glue right across where our red and green paint meet, and we're going to apply the white piece of trim there. From this point, we're going to start making the Grinch's face. So we want to leave some room for the mouth. So after leaving a little bit of room, we're going to put another dot of glue, and we're going to put our green pom-pom. Again, applying some pressure and giving that an opportunity to dry so that it'll stick to our ornament. Then we need dots of glue for the eyes, and we want to make sure that these are about level. And as we're gluing this, you may see some of the glue go everywhere, and that is okay because our tacky glue is going to dry clear at the end of all this, so it won't be that big of a deal. But now we have our Grinch's nose and eyes, and we want to line those up so that they're even. And it's time for the eyebrows. So we're just going to put another dot of glue right above the eyes and attach these paper eyebrows that we cut out, just tiny rectangles. And there's the other one. And at this point, the only thing that we should have left on our Grinch as far as attaching the paper decorations go is a straight line of glue right across the top, and that's where we're going to attach the Grinch's Santa hat. Oh, and as you can see, my pom-pom already came off again, so we're going to want to re-glue that. But for right now, we're just going to attach our hat because we want to make sure that we can do the next step. And the next step is that we're going to take our hole punch and we're going to punch a hole in the top of our Grinch's hat. And this is going to allow us to take our yarn from earlier and just thread it through the hole and tie a knot so that we can hang our ornament. I recommend tying it like I'm doing here, but any way that you tie it will be perfectly fine. If you have a little bit of yarn left over on the end of your ornament, you can simply just take your scissors from earlier and trim that right off. And once we've done that and evened up the string on our ornament, then the last thing that we need to do is draw on the Grinch's mouth. And you want to draw it sort of like a curled V on the popsicle sticks. So we'll draw one half like that and one half like that. And at this point, since our white pom-pom fell off, we're going to put another dot of glue, reattach it, applying some pressure to help that glue bond because it didn't the first time. And then our Grinchy ornament is all ready to hang on our Christmas tree or anywhere else that we'd like to decorate for the holidays. So remember to let your glue set. Remember to let all of your paint dry. This is definitely a more patient craft, but at this point we are finished and ready to celebrate. I want to thank everybody who joined us today as we made our Grinchy Christmas ornaments. I think mine turned out pretty great, but more importantly, I'd like to see how your ornament turned out. So be sure to send pictures on over to us at kids@adamslope.org. And as always, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube for updates not only about future themed crafts, but everything else that we're doing here at the library. Happy crafting and happy holidays, everyone.